Yep. All right. I want to talk about the Jeffrey Goldberg angle because one of the crazy parts of this story is that he's arguably the most prominent hostile reporter to Trump in America. I mean, if you look at his track record, he is even if you don't believe, as many smart people do, that he's made stories up to hurt Donald Trump, even if you don't believe that, as many smart people do, his hostility is manifest. How he could be in colloquy with the national security advisor of this president is a phenomenal thing. Although then you remember the president himself's in regular colloquy with Maggie Haberman. In any event, here is Pete Hegseth from last night.
I don't equate the two, and
Okay. 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 All right. We'll
as a
get to
guy who
that.
hates the media,
Yeah. Okay.
I don't put those guys even in the same.
Okay. Okay. So here's Hegseth last night. You've probably seen snippets of his clip, but this is the full thing. And then here is Jeffrey Goldberg back to back on Morning Joe, challenging Hegseth's claim that there was no operational details, so-called war plans, on the chat. Roll, please.
About a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax, or suckers and losers hoax. So this is the guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does. I would love to comment on the Houthi campaign because of the skill and courage of our troops. I've monitored it very closely from the beginning. And you see, we've been managing 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Trump administration. Our troops, our sailors were getting shot at as targets. Our ships couldn't sail through. And when they did shoot back, it was purely defensively or at shacks in Yemen. President Trump said, no more. We will reestablish deterrence. We will open freedom of navigation, and we will ultimately decimate the Houthis, which is exactly what we're doing as we speak from the beginning, overwhelmingly. I've heard I was characterized. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Yeah, well, there's more than one text in that exchange. The CIA director came in with operational information. The National Security Advisor came in with after-battle assessments, or actually during battle assessments of the damage done, including the damage done to human targets and how those people were targeted. Again, I don't want to go into details because I don't think it's responsible to put out operational issues, and I don't understand all the sources and methods issues that are raised by this from an intelligence perspective. But no, I mean, I don't. I saw Hegseth's response yesterday. It was just unserious. Obviously, this would, by the standard vernacular understanding of what war plan means, it was, at 1:45, this is going to happen. At 1:52, this is going to happen. Then this happens. Then that happens. And then we do this. And then we do that. He's telling this group. He's letting them know probably more than they need to know. I mean, the Secretary of State, the Chief of Staff of the White House don't actually need to know which weapons packages are being deployed in what way. Obviously, right before an attack. If you're doing an after-action report, if you're sitting in the cabinet and you say, hey, Pete, how'd you pull that off? Maybe that's part of a conversation, but obviously, you know, at a certain level, you don't need to know the technical aspects. But no, there was what it was, and why it was so dangerous to kind of release into the wild of a commercial messaging app was these are the things that are going to happen in the immediate future, and some of these things involve obviously, you know, American pilots.
Quick sidebar. Amazing how influential, we say it all the time, Stephen Miller is. The fact that the domestic policy advisor was on the chain. Dan, will demonizing Jeffrey Goldberg.
He's not. He's the deputy chief of staff. The domestic policy advisor is Vince Haley.
But he's deputy chief of staff for domestic policy, isn't he?
I think his portfolio is wider, but needless to say,
it is wider, but yeah. I don't know. Well, let me put it this way. He's not known to be typically thought of as a major player in our national security policy, but he is. Dan, will demonizing Jeffrey Goldberg work for the Republicans?
It will work in the sense that it's apple pie to MAGA. I mean, just try to go after him, try to paint him as part of the resistance and Trump derangement syndrome and all of this. Look, I am super sympathetic and empathetic to Mike Walls in that he obviously accidentally added them. Like it was not, hey, let's, at least to my knowledge, like, let's bring them in and kind of show them how the inner things work, right? I think Mike Wall, as it's being reported, is mortified, and I'm sure he is, right? That is like an entirely kind of small issue here of the fact that, like, who got it? It's not really even an issue. So I think all the things we just discussed are the much bigger issue. But will independents say, oh, it's Jeffrey Goldberg? So no. But will MAGA get fired up? Sure.